Buckle up for another episode of Ghost Phasers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun as always is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Yeah, I guess. I could go either way.
I mean, that's true, but yeah, aren't you excited for the show?
Yeah, we're doing it. Yeah. What's happening?
Don't you feel excited? I mean, we just won an award. Don't you feel excited about that?
It's we have been recognized, and I recognize that.
What do you even feel?
Well, something is wrong with me, but I don't know what. Could you reach elbow deep inside me to figure it out?
Of course I can. I'm horny. Let's get into it.
Ghost Phasers! We're facing ghosts! We're others, we're not! We're ghosts! Ghost Phasers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghost Phasers! We're facing nightmare! We're facing dread! Ghost Phasers! We're facing faceless! We're facing dead!
Welcome to Ghost Phasers. Today we're discussing Season 6, Episode 7, Family Matters.
Yep.
Did I do that?
I will. I am a little bit surprised that a show that has as much fun playing off things as Supernatural didn't throw something in this one.
Yeah, just Samuel once going like, got any cheese?
Not saying it like in the voice, but just someone going, did I do that?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
That feels like such a Supernatural joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little surprising that's not in there.
Uriel.
Yeah, he had the personality for it.
Did I do that?
Yeah, and then he goes in the machine, he comes out, Angel Urquil.
Oh my God. Somehow cooler.
Yeah, the one we got is the nerd.
Yeah.
The one.
Holy shit, that's incredible. We got a review.
Hey, nice.
From the Canadian Podcast Awards.
Baby.
They gave us 5 stars in the form of a TV
and one award.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won.
Yeah, like 2 days
Ghost
ago.
Phasers got nominated last year for Outstanding Comedy Series.
That's right. Maybe
where I assume we split the vote.
Yeah,
which is why we didn't win that last year.
Yeah.
But this year we got nominated for Outstanding Television and Film Series, and we won.
We fucking
Ghost Phasers is now a Canadian Podcast Award winning.
We are podcast.
We are podcasts. And obviously it hasn't gone to our head, and obviously we're fine about it.
Yeah, no, we are very chill.
Everything's good now.
Yeah, and you better recognize.
So bow. So fucking kneel.
We are podcasts.
Yeah, kiss our rings.
I fully did not expect us to win. I was like, is there a way we're going to win awards 2 years in a row?
Yeah, I mean, part of the rules of the Canadian Podcast Awards is you can't win the same category 2 years in a row.
Yeah, they're lucky.
Like, you can't get nominated in the same category 2 years in a row.
Yeah, you see that 2022?
Your Welcome Arts Series.
Yeah, your Welcome 2023 film series.
Yeah. We had won an award last year on the other show.
Yes.
And then we won this one this year for Ghost Phasers, and we also won Outstanding Comedy on Dr. DC. Big year for us.
Yeah, this is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear to everyone involved that the voters don't listen.
Yeah.
There's no way that would correlate.
I mean, yeah, we beat out way more talented people than us.
Yeah, more talented people who work a lot harder at it.
Oh, yeah.
The imposter syndrome's strong, but...
Oh, you're telling me the other podcasts don't delete episodes that were supposed to go out on Halloween?
I just want to say, I'm not going to say the number, but we were very close to a downloads threshold last month.
Oh, and you think that it's my fault? Oh, okay, yes.
We were within...
I know.
Almost like...
Yeah, but would it have been
It's almost like deleting an episode affected our numbers.
But this is the honest based on our normal amount of episodes rather than gaming the system by throwing an extra one
I don't
in.
give a shit about that. I want to win
Well, you did.
this.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
enough.
not enough.
It's not filling the hole inside me.
I don't know what to tell you, but we only know there's one way to fill the hole
we're
inside
both
of you.
looking at it mounted on the wall.
And you'll never see it.
We're both looking at
Something being mounted on the wall.
Me mounted by it, mounted on the wall.
We will never release this image.
But yeah, we won, which is dope and amazing.
Insane.
And thank you, voters.
Yes.
Because this is an industry award. It's not voted on by listeners or anything, which is even more insane that the people working harder on their shows voted for us.
They were like, I mean, we work really hard, but they made a lot of cum jokes.
Yeah, but they said that Angel or Queel thing, and
I can't compete with that.
Yeah. Somebody, or do you know what? The voting would have closed already, but also great stuff like the cherry pie bit. I'm sorry.
The hands-free cherry pie grandmother.
Hands-free cherry pie.
Could I eat your grandma between her thighs?
Jesus Christ. We're so fucked up. At any rate, that was our big news. That was fun.
Yeah. So that's our review this week.
Yeah. The only review that matters, except for future weeks. Please send your reviews. We
Yes,
like
please.
those,
No. God, we need those.
Oh, God, don't leave.
All right. So this episode, Family Matters, aired October 22nd, 2010. Written by Andrew Dabb.
Of course.
And Daniel Laughlin.
Why were you jerking off two ghosts?
I don't have a joke for that. Directed by not Guy A, Guy B.
His name is Guy B?
Yeah, we've had him before.
Oh,
I've certainly made that joke before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You don't pay attention to those things. It's okay.
No, I save my attention for the good segments usually.
Like hands-free cherry pie eating.
Yeah, the good stuff. The content that helps us win.
Yeah, I did. It was funny. Ron Swallow commented on my thing and said, it's got to be the sandwich segment.
I would like to think so.
I was like, how dare you?
I think he's probably right. Especially that episode where we went from the hellhounds tearing.
Oh
tearing
yeah,
people-
to pulled meat.
Pulled pork. Maybe my greatest moment.
Yeah, no, that was awful. Yeah, you did a good thing there.
I did.
Yeah, that's the part they heard that and they were like, this is the outstanding film and TV series. This perfectly encapsulates the thing we're trying to do with this.
Yeah, sorry, incisive documentary about the works of David Cronenberg or whatever,
We've got to pull our meat here. This episode was viewed by an estimated 2.46 million viewers.
They're holding strong in that like 2.5 range.
Yeah, slightly down from last week, but still 2.5 million.
A lot better than I expected season 6 to
I mean,
be.
considering what we've heard about season 6, this is like consistent. I think this is where like any of the naysayers fall off.
It's also hard to gauge versus like we're not doing like a comparative thing because we also know that like TV viewership like
it's changing globally.
changes over the span of this show.
Yeah.
And the numbers that are considered great change too. Like if The Flash hits like 900,000 viewers on an episode, they go like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, so it's hard to tell like what is the drop off versus what is the TV drop off.
Yeah.
And like, is Supernatural actually getting better over time? Because they've only gone down by 2.5 million from the pilot in 6 years, or is like that's I think what I'm maybe curious about.
Totally.
I have to imagine by season 15 that relatively Supernatural is doing better.
Yeah.
Than like where it started.
Sure.
Given those changes.
Yeah. If you could somehow like mark the change somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. If you show like what are like the top rated shows and what are their numbers? And then as a proportion of that, what are Supernatural's numbers in similar years?
Yeah.
You would probably see it climbing.
Yeah.
That's my suspicion.
I would think
without
so.
having looked at any numbers or done any research.
No, well,
And by the way, we won't.
yeah, we did our own research.
Yeah. Yeah, pull that up.
Oh,
That's my Joe Rogan impression. That's as much as I have got there.
Okay, pull that up.
Yep.
Wow, uncanny.
Yep. It's like he's in the room.
All right, well, let's watch this week's promo and see if that gives us any indication if this is a good episode and if it was worth watching for people.
Sure. Yeah, I guess. It's not a terrible promo, but it is weird that the bulk of the promo is one scene.
Yeah, but I mean that scene is so much the whole episode.
It works actually.
It's a good promo.
Man, season 6.
They finally figured it out.
Topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
Everything is topsy-daisy.
Yeah, they figured out the promos just in time for the show to take its biggest dive. We figured this out. Yeah, I'm sorry, but the material's going to be awful.
Or they were like, the show's taking a dive. We have to put all our R&D budget into promos.
What if, crazy idea, what if we talked about what happened in the episode?
What if the promos were good?
Yeah.
We've never needed to rely on that before, but I guess we'll have to now.
Well, yeah, it was going to be 1 million, but now it's 2.46.
Yeah. Break glass in case of ratings drop.
Yeah, quality promos. Let's call the ad company. Hell yeah.
Execute Order 66.
Yeah, we're going to kill...
Execute Order Season 6.
Oh,
fuck,
yeah,
that was
fuck
it.
you, idiot.
Well, whatever. We already have the award. They can't take it back.
Right?
Right.
Oh, no. Do we get a physical award? I can't remember.
No, because they cost like $700.
Oh, that's what the whole thing. I'd pay $700 for it.
I might, but no, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, times 100 awards. That's a lot.
You know.
Okay, I get it.
Fine.
What if we have to pay to be in the awards? Now I get it.
I mean, that's like some other like the like what's it called? There's like a bigger like podcast academy, and you have to pay to be part of that.
Oh,
or you pay to be an academy member, which is technically like access to the like to networking and stuff. But like, you're essentially paying to be eligible to be nominated for those. Of
course. All right. Well, let's talk about international titles. The title for this week's episode is obviously referencing the 1990 sitcom Family Matters. Actually started in 89, which I didn't realize. And starred Jaleel White as the quintessential nerd Steve Urkel.
Yeah. Which
is so funny. I mean, if you've never watched the the Key and Peele sketch about Family Matters.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen that one.
It's fucking incredible because it's basically the guy who played Carl Winslow being like, I signed on to do this like look into the real lives of what actual
because that show changes.
Yeah, and he's like and now we're time traveling and like it's an incredible sketch. We have to watch. It's very funny.
That's awesome.
It's just because it's like what that show started was like this like play off of the Cosbys that was more realistic of what a real family in Chicago.
It's true. That
is.
show takes like a hard left turn.
Yeah, and then becomes
so emblematic of the stereotype of like late 80s, early 90s sitcoms.
Yeah.
Catchphrases and like applause breaks when people enter and like looking at the camera.
It's Poochie. Like that's what it is.
Well,
like,
it's like BoJack Horseman, like horsing around.
Yeah.
All of those shows are kind of
it's exactly that type of thing. I
mean, horsing around is Full House, but still the same idea.
Yes, exactly. So we've got 2 titles to talk about this week.
All right.
The French title is referencing a wholly different media property and probably a better title for this episode.
Okay, a totally different media property. Rocky 4.
No, I mean I said it made more sense for this episode though.
Huh?
Sorry, Rocky 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd like to amend my answer.
Yeah, the one with the vampire, obviously.
I mean, Rocky 4 or Rocky 5 has a straight up robot.
That's
in it.
3, isn't it?
No, it's 4 actually.
Oh, okay, it's 4. Yeah,
has a straight up robot.
Yeah, because that's when he's like wealthy and then he's got the
They're
robot.
like, what does wealth mean? It's like a waiter robot.
Yeah.
that comes in with like fucking tab
Yes.
on a tray. Like
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've really only seen that scene, I think.
yeah. From Rocky 4. You've seen more of Rocky 4. That's the one with Ivan Drago. It's like
Oh,
the...
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So sorry, was it that?
No, it
Okay.
wasn't that. No,
What's the French title?
It's Interview with the Vampire.
Huh. That makes so much more sense.
Isn't it so better?
Yeah.
It's so much better. It's just like
Interesting. Yeah. What?
why wasn't it that?
It's-
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. That's a set piece of this. I actually think that the English title is better thematically for the episode.
I guess, but
Interview with the Vampire is
it's
good.
It's a good title, right?
Yeah. I mean, classic French, though, gives away a little bit.
Yes, of course. But it's like sexy.
Yeah.
Also, that new Interview with the Vampire show is so good.
Yeah?
It's so good.
Really? Well, I'll have to watch them.
So I don't fully know. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so I'm not 100% sure, but it plays it off like it's a sequel to the movie.
Oh.
So basically,
Oh, really?
sort of. So the concept is
I don't know that I've ever read the book.
So the concept of it is basically, and neither have I. So maybe it's more of what the book actually is.
Right.
But the idea is basically this like old reporter who had like gotten to interview this vampire in his youth, and sort of like the details were wrong, and like both of them were too young to really like understand what they were doing.
Right.
And now he's going again. He's like, let's do this right. And so he's retelling the story.
Re-interview with the vampire.
I mean, kind of, yeah. And the whole thing was the vampire was like, why didn't you tell my story when it came out? And he's like, well, because he was like, I couldn't fucking tell. Like, I was a barely known reporter. I couldn't go out there and tell vampires were real.
Yeah.
So he's like, he's like, now I can do that. And he's also like dying and stuff. And so it's a really like, it's a sexy as hell show.
Well, yeah, it's Interview with the Vampire.
But also like they finally like put in a lot more of the like gay content.
Yeah, sure.
Which is just like fucking thank God.
Yeah. Interesting.
I needed that.
Easy.
Oh, by the way, I watched Don't Worry Darling the other day.
Oh, yeah, I haven't yet.
It's 1, not what I thought it was.
Okay.
2, so fucking sexy.
Is it? Because
Yeah.
I heard a bunch of people saying that they thought the sexiness of it was overhyped.
Oh no, I got turned.
Maybe you're just...
I mean, classically, I'm horny, but
Yeah, we know, man.
Yeah.
Jesus. Classically,
Yeah.
I'm horny.
I'm classically trained in being horny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a real virtuoso.
Yeah.
The skin flute.
Virtuoso.
He's a virtuoso.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, that would mean you're not that good at it.
Sploogeros. No,
Nice. What's the other language? What's the other country?
Oh yeah, we're doing something. The Hungarian title. What? Okay, so the
bad grandpa, dirty grandpa.
so how'd you know? So the existing English title is obviously what the entire episode's trying to be
Right.
about. The French title is about this like major set piece.
Right.
The Hungarian title is the other thing.
Oh, like a demon bargain or something.
No.
Or like I work for a demon.
No, you're missing the major piece, which is
like no soul.
yes, it's without soul.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The third piece.
That's
of
my
this thing.
documentary about a town that's never heard of jazz.
Without soul. For me, it's the town that Pixar exists, except for they're missing one movie.
That's like a Rick and Morty gag.
Yeah.
In this universe, it's pronounced Parmesan.
Yeah. That's the only difference. It's the sliders thing. They greased the gate.
I mean, we can't talk about sliders. Do we need to start a sliders pod?
Yeah. The problem with you is then you'd be even more justified to bring in a sandwich segment.
Yeah. Sliders, baby.
This week, what do you think about White Castle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm really good at this.
award-winning.
Award-winning.
Yeah. We can't be told otherwise now.
No. It's
It's gone too far.
yeah. Can't take this back.
There is no featured music this week.
That's right.
And TV Guide describes it as Dean believes his grandfather is harboring a secret and reluctantly goes on a hunt with him, which goes horribly awry.
They're playing that pretty close to the vest,
I know.
all things considered.
It's the shortest description I've seen so far, I think.
And nothing else.
Yeah.
Watch the episode.
Yeah. Cheney goes on a hunting trip and things go awry.
Yeah, their grandpa, Cheney.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, before we start getting into this episode, though, let's open up Dad's journal and learn about some of the real world lore.
Let's see what the lore says about souls,
I was wondering.
baby.
It's a city.
Yeah, there's that soul.
Yeah. It's on
There's
the bottom of your shoe.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
that soul.
Yeah.
There's being lonely. There's that soul.
Oh.
Be the soul
Salt?
survivor. That's Cell.
Oh yeah. What's soul?
Soul is the name of our sun.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
As in
yeah.
the solar system.
What's soul in French though? It's like SOL means, or is that Spanish?
Sol? Soleil is sun. In Spanish, sol, I think, means the sun.
Okay. Okay. No, don't.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about your soul, you piece of shit. What is a soul? We're going to answer it today.
Oh my God. We're going to answer it today.
There is an answer.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. I wrote there isn't an answer.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm like, you mean the first time of you ever doing this segment that there is like a conclusive answer?
Shut the fuck up, man. Just got to live in the in-between.
In the purgatory.
Shut the fuck up. That's a future. If you
What?
Uriel me, I will beat you to death with the podcast award I can't afford.
There's concepts in this.
I will beat you to death on air and release the episode.
Did that come up and I didn't do something? I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out.
They're with me.
I know. It recently came up again on the
They're
Discord.
with me.
And I love that they congratulated you for being so chill about it. I was
Yeah.
like, excuse me?
I was famously chill about it.
Yeah. Except for when the mics turned up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no.
Admission of guilt.
Uh-oh.
How long has it been?
Yeah.
Have we been doing this 7 years?
Okay, what's a soul? So there are many ideas, but broadly, a soul is considered to be an immaterial, intangible element of humanity. It's an essence of you that transcends the physical universe. That is not 100% true across the board. There are philosophies in which like souls are material.
Like, I mean, yeah, what is it?
Like
7 pounds or something?
Well, Epicureans, no, 7 pounds was about him donating organs.
What's the weight
It's
of a
21
soul?
grams.
21 grams, that's
but
what it was.
yeah, 7 pounds is different. That was him
Yeah.
like donating organs as he was dying.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Man, that movie. No, they're Epicureans believe that the soul is like also physical, that it must also be composed of atoms, the way everything else is.
I'm epicurious.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm allergic, but I'm not sure I want to do anything about it. I'm epicurious.
Yeah.
So the word itself comes from Old English "soul," which I'm positive I'm mispronouncing.
Soul.
And probably comes from a Proto-German word
It's
that
pronounced
means
Smaug.
yeah. There's a Proto-German word that means like salvation or like oath or things like that, and that is kind of the origin of the word soul. The first references to the soul are like ancient times, and I think there's some evidence even of like prehistoric
I bet.
belief in intangible things.
It is a weird thing that it is it has. That's like the one thing consistent across the board almost. Like
I mean, we'll get into it a bit, but I know. Do you ever get that feeling? I'm just going to say a weird thing here.
you?
Do you ever like have that sort of dissociative thing where you feel like you are your brain just driving your body?
Yeah.
Instead of like that all of this is me, you're like, well, I'm just up in here.
Yes.
And I'm driving this flesh engine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I had that while I was doing the notes.
The two of us are having disassociative
I was talking
episodes.
about souls and identity, and I fully lost it.
A man who's dealing with like issues of mortality right now, and like has been like blacking out and like dealing, and a child who's getting older. You're having problems with your attachment to your body and your future mortality. That seems crazy. You?
Anyway. One of the first references to the soul being separate from the body.
Yeah.
Even if the idea of a soul had been nice song, good song. Yeah. Even if there's reference to souls
Hold
as
on
like
one sec. Bless you.
Didn't seem necessary.
It didn't, but it was funny.
Even if there's references to souls being like a concept, one of the
we're talking about souls. I just said bless you because it's supposed to remember jam it back in.
Yeah. One of the earliest references to a soul being separate from the body is this thing called the Kutamua stele from the 8th century BCE. It's basically like a funerary thing, and he says that his like soul is imbued into the stele. So, hundreds of different faith systems across the world have the concept of a soul, but it varies. So, in some, the soul is physical. In some, it's simply just a non-physical essence. In others, souls are things only humans have. In others, all animals have souls, but only human souls are immortal. Like, there's a whole range of things. And in many of these beliefs, the soul is more or less just you without a body. It's
Sure.
like who you are. You would if you believed in your soul surviving after you die. It'd be your personality, your thoughts, your experiences, it'd be all of those things. Your memories. A lot of belief systems basically imagine a soul that way. In the Hindu belief, interestingly, there's also a thing called the Parabrahman, which is the primordial self. This is an idea that comes up in Hinduism. I can't remember the name of it, but there's kind of like different aspects of like God or the divine.
Sure.
So like there's this idea that there might be a representation of a deity or deities that you can interact with, but they are like lesser aspects so we can comprehend them.
Yeah.
But the actual energy, being, spirit of creation is so incomprehensible that we couldn't possibly interact with it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that same sort of belief with the soul too. So the Parabrahman, the primordial self, represents like ascending to that highest order of things. You would be stripped of your personality and individuality.
Oh, interesting.
But your essence, your spirit would join that like higher kind of cosmic energy, the unknowable, like all of that kind of thing. For the Star Wars geeks out there, all Jedi, more or less, up until Qui-Gon Jinn, basically achieved Parabrahman when they joined the Force.
Oh, but then he figured out how to like...
Qui-Gon Jinn was a believer in the living Force, and that's why he wasn't on the Council, because he was guided by the Force, not using the Force. And that's why he becomes the first Force ghost, or one of.
Sure.
He's the one that teaches Yoda, and so, like the Jedi being Force ghosts starts with Qui-Gon Jinn, as because he's like, fuck you, Parabrahman. I want to keep my personality and individuality.
Yes.
That's a sorry Hinduism.
Wow.
So, while other religions offer some interesting examples of beliefs in souls, there's also a wide range of like philosophical belief as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is this idea, like a huge swaths of philosophy are about like the nature of existence. There's ontology, which is like the study of being. There's epistemology, is the study of knowing. Those two things rely very heavily on like how much of it is that we're storing physical information in our brains versus something that's harder to grasp.
Tangible,
You know, and on that note, like in neurologically, this one thing I read said that there's a correlative relationship between brain activity and brain like function, but not a causal relationship. As in the way we measure things, we can't determine if the brain. Well, I mean, I think we know based on your belief system. You would know, like, essentially, the argument is for the people that are looking for the soul to be something apart. That their argument is that it's an assumption to say that the brain causes the thought.
Sure.
As opposed to the thought starting the process in the brain.
Oh.
Because the only thing you can measure is that they happen at the same time.
Sure.
You can't measure, like, inspiration.
Sure.
Like, you can, where it, or its origin. So the people that believe in the soul as a separate thing basically say you can only measure a correlative relationship, not a causal relationship between them, which is kind of a terrifying thing to think about a little bit. Where was I going? Oh, in Greek, the word for soul is psyche.
Oh, is that where the concept of, like, psychology and
psychology, all of those things? It's about, like, your self.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it's the belief that the soul had like 3 elements. This is sort of like Aristotle and Plato and Socrates, that.
Yeah.
So
this is the all Enlightenment period. Is that?
No. Well, maybe. I can't. No, the Enlightenment's like the Renaissance.
Is it?
That's later. That's Enlightenment's like the 17th century.
Oh, okay.
17th, 18th century.
Yeah.
We're talking about like ancient.
Okay.
Greece here.
Early philosophers.
Yeah. So there's the logos, which is mind or reason,
or like branding.
Yeah, there's the timos, which is your emotion or drive, and then there's the eros, which is your desires or your appetites. Those are the 3 components that all together they believe made up the psyche or the soul.
Yes.
But then Thomas Aquinas, sort of a Christian philosopher, believed in an escalation of life from plant to animal to human, where he said, like, plants are life, but then animals are like life with.
Sure, yeah.
So, like, with, whatever thing he defined, and then humans add like reason on top of that kind of thing. And he, quote unquote, proved the immortality of the human soul. So
okay,
he had this theory that the knower becomes what it knows. His whole thing is based on the idea that if you know you are something, then that thing is part of...
I think, therefore, I am.
No, it's different from that. Then that thing becomes part of you. So he's saying... I'm going to try and get this here.
Okay.
If we know that we are physical, then everything we are is physical. But the soul is outside of that, because certainly in his time, there's no understanding of the physicality of being.
Yeah.
So he said that must be something outside of the corporeal. And if it's non-corporeal, then you can't destroy it. So,
okay.
Keep in mind, Thomas Aquinas is like 1600s.
Like, they haven't figured out like nervous systems and like brain connections.
Very tenuous grasp of the sort of like the physical realities of the universe and stuff like that. So, but that was his like general idea, is that he proved that the soul is immortal basically by saying it's not physical.
Sure.
He quote proved it wasn't physical and then quote proved that it was.
Through no science, but it's more of like theoretical proof.
It's like theoretical theology.
Yeah.
It's like even for religion, it's like a little heady.
Yeah.
In Kantian philosophy, the soul is the inner experience, the I that can't be proved or disproved.
I'm more believing like the Kantian philosophy.
No, not me.
I mean, yes. Or no.
We talked about the Epicureans believed that the soul was material, that was made of atoms. That's sort of their experience of it. There are fields of medicine that, while not pursuing a belief in the soul, are looking to better understand why old beliefs in the soul mention it residing in a specific organ.
Sure.
So the Greeks actually thought that's
in my dick.
that three kind of piece thing, the logos, the timos, the eros, lived in different parts of your body. The logos was in your head, the timos, your emotions, were in your heart, and the eros, your desires and your appetites, were in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they believed. Other, things say the soul's in your heart. Other things say it's, So there's a field of medicine that's like, was this like an intuitive understanding of like a mind-body relationship that we haven't figured out. So there are fields of study that way. And then my kind of last point here that we touched on. Duncan McDougall in 1901 was doing experiments.
Can I guess where he's from?
Oh, no. It's me, Shrek. I've been conducting medical experiments in my swamp.
Yeah, and I found that my farts are made of nitrogen.
Well, my farts weigh 21 grams. Yeah, Duncan McDougall is the guy that was weighing people as they died.
Yes, yeah.
And he concluded that the soul weighs 21 grams.
Yes.
Little footnote here. Apparently that's the result from a single patient, and he ignored all other data.
Sure.
There you go. That's the soul, baby.
Wow.
We solved it.
Wow. Look at that. Us. Award-winning podcasters.
And philosophers.
Yeah. Next year we're going for the Science Award.
And the Religion Award.
Yeah. We can't go for TV, so that's all we have.
Yeah. Science and religion.
What better goes hand in hand?
Yeah, we're the marriage between these two contradictory ideas.
Where are you at with the soul?
Oh, I mean, I don't believe in things like afterlife and stuff like that. I am pretty confident in the idea that there's some sort of greater fabric or whatever. I don't believe in the intelligence of creation.
Yes.
I do kind of believe in the things we don't yet have scientific explanation. We don't know what dark matter is. We don't know what all these things.
It would be foolish for us to feel like we understand science.
I imagine that whatever those things are, they're in us too, because we're also made of the universe, right? Yeah. So if dark matter's out there, it must be in here, and maybe if we crack that, maybe that's a window into those things that we maybe intuitively feel like we are separate from our bodies.
Yeah.
Maybe that's tied up in that. I think that's kind of where I'm at with it, which is, I believe in the material, in the physical, but that also extends to the stuff we don't understand yet.
Which is also material, but we just don't get it.
Totally. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think
that's my thing.
I think because there's proof of interconnectedness of energy in the universe that we don't really understand.
It could be the things that we describe really coldly, like weak and strong nuclear forces or whatever.
Yes.
Call it whatever you want, but I think there must be, on some level, some sort of intuitive perception of those things that until we have the math and the science and the proof and the whatever to describe it, it's just going to sound like crazy talk.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I'm on the exact same page.
Yeah. I do not believe in intelligent creation, though.
No.
I have no stake in that whatsoever.
No. I mean, this show does a great job of really going, if that was true, it's probably like this.
Yeah. And are they really that intelligent?
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into today's episode. We begin with the then. We're talking vampires. We're going back to Twihard.
Yeah, baby.
We're getting Samuel.
Yep.
We're getting something's wrong with Sam.
Well, clearly.
Dean
beating the piss out of Sam.
Yeah, Dean turning on Sam and beating the shit out of him. We get a bit of the previous episode with the Veritas, and we find out there's something wrong with Sam, and we need to deal with that. And then eventually Dean, fully just going, I don't know who you are, but I don't trust you, and we need to solve this.
Yes, yeah.
And Sam deciding that he needs help.
Yeah.
So that gets into the now.
Yeah.
So Sam is waking up because Dean had brought him to Castiel to get diagnosed.
Yeah, Sam kind of wakes up tied to a chair, and
so hot.
Cass is like, "Hey," or whatever he says.
Cool.
I was I was also playing Lotro while I watched this.
Still?
Yeah, man.
Jesus Christ. There's got to be a better version of that.
What do you mean?
Like a game that is higher quality that is Lord of the Rings now that exists that you could play.
How is it higher quality? It's got better graphics than any MMO I've played.
That's crazy. Are they still upgrading it?
Yeah.
This is not the conversation.
I'm helping the dwarves take back Mount Gundabad right now.
That's good to good.
Yeah. Cool.
God, between Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, we're really bringing in the ladies in this episode. Are we cool?
Yeah, Michael Vaughn and all of you Lord of the Rings lovers.
Yeah. We do have some dorky ladies listeners, so.
Really? In our supernatural listenership?
Fair. I hear what you're saying. Then, hey, you guys like what you've heard so far?
No. How dare you?
I'm horny.
Jesus, no. How dare you? They're so sweet. All our listeners are such nice people. Don't be horny at them.
They're horny too.
Not at us.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know, man.
Trust me. So
Sam wakes up in a chair.
Yeah, and he
right where I left him.
Tied up. Dean had brought Sam to Castiel. Dean had brought Sam to...
Dean brought.
Yeah, Dean brought.
You always say Broughton, and it always makes me think of Bring It On.
Oh, it's already been
Broughton.
Yes. I think that's probably why I say it that way.
So sassy.
Yeah, Dean brought Sam to Castiel to be diagnosed. I can get through the first sentence of this. Sam explains that he hasn't slept since his return.
Cass is asking him a bunch of questions, and one of them is like, how often do you sleep?
Yeah.
And
he's like,
and he goes, I haven't. And I go, like
Dean's
at
like,
all.
what the fuck? Like, why would you not tell us this?
Yeah, it's been a year I haven't slept. Is that bad?
Yeah. That's like you being like, I pass out occasionally. Is that bad?
That's fine. Feels good.
Now I got morphine.
No, I don't anymore.
You're off the good stuff.
I am, yeah.
And I hate it.
It's fine.
Back to the other existence.
And back to me again.
Yeah.
But one of the other questions is like, what do you feel? And he's like, cold. He's like, no, that's a physical sensation. What do you feel? And he's like, I don't know.
Exactly. And so Castiel goes, bite onto this.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
he goes, this is going to hurt. You know, we already saw in an earlier episode, Cass do that kind of soul check thing.
The moment that like 1,000 fanfics have been shipped.
I mean, the
belt.
Bite down on this, puts a belt in Sam's mouth, and then he goes wrist deep into Sam.
It's fucking insane. I mean,
this is the
stories.
puppeting thing Juicebox wanted.
He's true. Yeah. Oh god, we should have brought him on.
Yeah.
Brought. Yeah. Fuck. God damn it. I'm never talking in past tense bringing ever again.
I mean, God, if making one grammatical error is the thing that's going to close off things you talk about, you're not going to say much.
Fuck you. Now go edit my lips in. So yeah, he conducts this painful procedure, going wrist fucking elbow deep.
Yeah,
into
he's
Sam.
pretty deep in puppeting Sam.
And he pulls out, and Dean goes, "How was it?"
Yeah,
and he went, nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing in there.
And he goes, "Oh, good."
Yeah.
He goes, "No, that's not good."
Yeah, Sam has no soul.
That's right.
Somehow, when he was brought back, or like brought out of the cage,
It's not 100% Sammy.
It's not 100% Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's missing his soul, which is kind of why
explains everything so far.
we don't get like the 100% explanation, but through this episode, we sort of learn it's like that's kind of why he's like, well, no, like I knew Dean could get out of it, blah blah blah. Like he's making cold decisions that he can rationalize. He's got memories. He has,
but there's no like,
but there's no
empathy,
like,
there's no
feeling.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. There's no, and we hear later in the episode, no intuition, no instinct. It's just he's just there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He like he knows actions and has memory, but there is no like.
It's like
emotional connection.
cold logic,
yes,
kind of
exactly.
cold, or not even logic, but just cold reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this revelation that Sam has no soul was originally written for the end of the previous episode.
My number one critique of that episode was that it should have.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
And it was written that way, and they removed it for. And I get
so what? Well, to spend more time on what? Last episode.
I think the because this episode's a little bit like dry.
Oh, maybe to goose this episode as
that's
opposed
my guess, is because this episode's, I mean, we'll get through it, but it's a little dry. Like, the summary of this episode, like it's smaller than anything. The description of this episode for TV Guy is smaller than everything. Not a lot happens in this episode, considering.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, Castiel answers that it is an interesting philosophical question when Dean poses that, like, he's just like where is the soul? What, like, he starts asking all these questions about like how is he still Sam?
Yeah, and Cass is like, I have no idea how this could happen.
He's like, how is this still Sam? And he's like, great question.
Great
No
question.
idea.
Yeah.
No clue.
You pose an interesting philosophical question.
Yeah. I love God. Dean asks Cass to go and get Sam's soul from the cage, but Cass says that it would be incredibly difficult to do so.
I think this is also one of the first times that you kind of get a sense that Cass is the one that like got Dean out of hell, but it wasn't just Cass. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the first times I think you get a sense, like, Cass says, like, it took, like, a host of angels to break you out of hell.
Yeah, you just go to, like...
And you weren't that well guarded.
As we go to, like, 2, like, intern angels who are like, thank you!
Yeah.
I'm waiting fucking 3 seasons for that.
Yeah. Castiel and Angel or
Queel.
Or Queel.
So Sam at the same time is also pleading to be let free, and he's like now you know what the issue is. I'm still me. Can you just let me go?
And Dean's like, absolutely
I may
not.
not never let you go.
And then he goes like, I didn't want it to come to this, but then
like, what?
But then all this is he gets out of the bonds.
Yeah, it's kind of hot.
It is.
He's sort of crazy hot in this episode.
He's so hot in this season.
I know.
Am I a Sam girl now?
This season, yeah. I mean,
soulless. Something about soulless Sam. Yeah.
It's just it's because he's not questioning anything and not like our like anxiety ridden selves. He's just so confident looking.
Yeah, that must be nice.
What's that feel like?
Yeah, what's that like?
He's just like, all right, I've already gotten out, but I was giving you the opportunity to let me out.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not a threat of violence.
No.
But he says it like it is, so I was like, oh, I forgot. I will say, I forgot this episode. Like,
me too.
Top to bottom, forgot this episode.
Me too. Yeah. I remembered the vampire scene. That's it.
I remembered like the
interview. Like
I remembered like the visuals of that.
Yes.
But none of the content, not the setup, none of the plot of the set. This episode was 100% a blind spot for me.
So he says that Sam says he still wants to work with Dean. And at this point, he's like, look, you may as well work with me. Like, you know what to expect from me. I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, I can hunt. I want to deal with this thing. And Dean's just like, whatever, fine. Because he's like, at least I can keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
And now they need to find out who brought the Sams back.
Yeah.
Because they're like, before we're going to figure out this soul thing, we need to figure out how you
Sam is like, I got no clues. I just woke up in a field. He's like, well, I've got one lead.
Yes.
And then they go to see Samuel. It's the first time Samuel meets Castiel.
Yeah. They visit the whole Campbells who are preparing for a hunt at this point. Dean greets Christian by saying hello, Newman.
Yeah, this fucking guy with his fucking Don John look about him.
Yes. He's quoting Jerry Seinfeld's greeting to his nemesis on Seinfeld, 1989. Another 1989 reference here. So we've got Family Matters and Seinfeld.
But do you feel like that's deliberate?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Samuel is surprised to meet the angel that he's heard so much about.
Yeah.
And the Winchesters tell him that they need to diagnose him because they're like, look, we found out Sam doesn't have a soul.
So we got to check you.
Yeah.
He gets checked. Fucking Don John runs in because he hears screaming and,
hey, what's going on, Eddie? I was jerking off.
No, but he goes angelic cavity search.
Yeah, a weird way to describe
cool.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to take a flight to heaven.
But they've got to go through hell to get there.
That was funnier than I wanted it to be.
Samuel
but he does have a soul intact. He's a full person.
Yeah, and admits that he knew something was wrong with Sam all along.
Yeah, and he goes like, I obviously didn't know what, but like he said, you're a damn good hunter, but you scare me.
Yeah, and that's coming from Samuel.
Yeah, that's coming from Samuel, who's famously an asshole
and loves to make out with his family.
I mean, I don't know if he loves it; he just does it.
I mean, I would hope you enjoyed something you do.
What? Go on. Let's pursue this line of thought.
If it's a thing that you just do, I mean, I know that.
Also, he didn't.
I was getting to that point, but I was responding to what you just said.
What the fuck, man?
I was responding to what you said.
You are so fucked up.
You're off the reservation. Like, this is. Oh yeah, I guess that's not a great term.
You can't say that.
Oh yeah, I said it without knowing what the context of that term was. Don't say that. No. Let's talk about what's a bad thing to say.
I mean, it is a bad thing to say.
So let's not say it. Let's tell everybody that it's a bad thing to say.
Yeah, it is a bad thing.
We don't need to remove it. We could just tell people.
I feel like we're dwelling on it.
Us saying something that we regret and then dwelling on it for an entire episode. That's nothing we've ever done. Oh, it's something you've done. So, Sam and Dean decide that they're going to join Samuel on this hunting mission because they're like, "What are you guys up to?" And Samuel's being really cagey about it, and Sam goes, "Oh, you found it."
Yeah, and it's the alpha
Vampire.
vamp. We kind of got a little whisper of him a couple of episodes ago when Dean was briefly turned.
Yes,
and they've got a lead on him, so the whole compound's getting, ready to go to war.
Yeah, because they're like, why? There's way too many people for a normal hunt. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, okay, you found the alpha vampire.
It's like a nest and the alpha.
Yeah. And so Dean's just like, well, then, like, I'm going to come, right?
And Samuel's like, no. And he's like, do you trust us? And Samuel's like, yes. He goes, great, we're in.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so they decide they're going to join. So in preparation for this hunt, Dean decides he's going to search around the Campbell compound.
Yeah.
And Sam's sort of helping him out, trying to be a distraction. Christian starts to get suspicious of Sam and Dean's actions, though. And he confronts Dean as he's in the middle of breaking into Samuel's office.
Yeah.
They basically had a little bit of an interaction. I mean, it's unfortunately a lot of like, I'm going to fuck your wife. I'm going to fuck your girlfriend.
It's...
I hate that.
What are you doing in here? Is calling your wife to tell her not to wait up. It's like, I don't know, man. And it's like, your slut girlfriend. It's like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying that just because there's better trash talk that doesn't like involve that. But I mean, it's authentic in its own way that like
it does, like these like that would say
aggro
that shit.
Aggro men are bad and horrible would say shit like that. Like it's authentic in that way, but is it necessary? Like we're still making a TV show. We're making creative decisions. Like you don't have to do it.
This is always that conversation, right?
And especially for Dean, who has had the sort of character growth. Sorry, you go.
No. I mean, all I was saying is I think this is that problem that I always have with movies and television, where it's that line where it's like it's authentic, and it's like, yeah, just because something's authentic doesn't mean that like that piece of it makes this thing better.
And also, like, authenticity is only part of it. It's still you're still making art.
Yes, and art can be elevated,
varying levels of elevated or accessible or whatever. But like you still have to like apply that filter to it. So it's like, how is it serving the story?
Yes,
and the art of this and the arc of the episode to have these two guys treat women that way. For douchebag, maybe it makes sense in that later in the
intentionality.
In that later in the episode, the female member of the group is kept out of the hunt.
Yeah.
Maybe. But why is Dean doing it?
Exactly.
How does it serve Dean's story and Dean's character? And that's, I think, where it falls apart. You can make this other guy, because he's already supposed to be unlikable. Like, it sucks to hear that, I think, probably if you're like a female viewer, but you could maybe artistically justify it. But for Dean, it's like, what are you doing, man? Fuck your wife.
It's my problem always with like Quentin Tarantino, where I'm just like, it's a white dude that like loves to put the N-word into all of his movies.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, I was like you do not represent that culture, and you're like, well, as long as a black person says it, it's fine. And I'm like, no, you wrote this though. Like, I'd be curious to see what the script looks like, but my guess is like,
you think Quentin Tarantino's like censoring the script?
Well, and this is what I mean, right?
Of course he's not.
And so it's a problem I always have with these things where it's like,
in a spy movie where they try to find out like the code to the safe and they see the most punched number. If you did that to Tarantino's keyboard, it'd be N, G, and R.
Yeah, no, he actually he has a custom keyboard that just instead of return, it just says that.
Instead of the number pad, it's just...
I think that it's like Django Unchained made some sense, I suppose, but like I think the rest of it, it's just like you just
there's artistically a place for those things.
if that's the serving the story that you're trying
But
to
again,
tell.
it's the serving the story. There's arguments about this, and obviously we have a particular perspective about it. But I definitely in this moment in this scene,
it felt
I was like
unnecessary.
That's
Felt lazy.
It is lazy. It feels lazy as writing and also lazy for Dean. It's like Dean should be better at smack talk than this. Like, fuck your wife. Like, we haven't even seen her.
You don't know what
we barely know she exists.
You don't even know the dynamics of their relationship.
Yeah.
He'd be like, sweet.
But like, he doesn't make fun of his haircut or his stupid, like, all of the classic Dean.
Call him Don John. I guess that didn't come out yet, but
no,
still.
It hadn't, but I don't know. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Jersey Shore.
I think there's arguments to be made for the various level of authenticity, but I just don't see how it helps the story.
Agree. So they then arrive at the hunt location.
Yes.
And Dean and Gwen are told to hold back to kill any straggler vampires. But the reality of it is they're like, I don't trust Dean, so I'm going to make him stand back. And this is a broad, so she's got
I don't think I remember or ever knew why Gwen is sort of on the outside, unless it's just misogyny.
It's my guess. I couldn't tell if that.
I truly don't like. This is the craziest thing about seasons. Like in previous seasons, I'm like, oh right, this, and then in a few episodes, this will happen. In this season, I'm like, I got no fucking clue.
Yeah.
I'm basically watching this for the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the rest of the Campbells storm the base. As the action starts, Dean leaves Gwen to go to the base because they're basically there was like a
runner.
Who Gwen saves Dean. And then there's a weird moment that we'll talk about later. I'll get there, trust me. Because of this save,
okay.
and then Dean sort of hears gunshots and decides he's gonna go help. What's going on? Gwen's like, "What the hell are you doing?" She stays put. When suddenly he arrives at this bait or this what is like a mansion? It's like a French sort of mansion-y kind of thing.
Yeah, it's got cool vibes.
Yeah. It's got
good vibes.
Yeah, I like it. He hears one of his cousins yelling. One of cousin C.
I don't know if they're all actual Campbells or just a couple of them are, and the rest are like just crew.
I like
contractors.
I like to think that they're all family members, and that it's just like cousin 0.5. Like
yeah.
5, 4, 6, 3, 2. Yeah.
There's all these dead vamp bodies, but then Dean sees them drag what we assume is the alpha out with like a bag over its head and like dump him in a
kidnap
van.
the alpha.
Yeah. And before they went in, they had all the dead man's blood. They had all, they were ready.
Exactly.
But they do that.
But clearly they're hiding this from Dean.
And Sam even is there. He like looks around and
so Sam's part of it.
Yeah.
So they then drive off Sam and Dean, and Dean's like, so did everything go in as planned in there? And even before they got in the car, Samuel had been like, yep, we burned the body. Like, you can't go see it because Dean's like, I want to pay my respects.
Yeah. And they got in the car.
Yeah.
So not gotten.
So they're driving in the car, and then son of a bitch. Let me go make a call to your wife. Tell her.
I mean, she'd probably kick your ass harder than I would.
It's kind of the part of it.
Easy.
So they're driving in the car, and Dean's basically like, so did everything go fine inside of in the hunt? And Sam's like, yeah, everything went great. And he clearly is hiding this information from me. So Dean like pulls to the side of the road and was like, I fucking saw you.
Yeah.
Like, you're lying to me. And Sam goes, I am. And he goes, why? And he goes,
I do think Jared does this well.
He does.
Of just playing everything at like kind of the same level of just like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, no, it all went fine. You're lying to me. Yep.
It's almost like playing to Jared's strengths. When you ask him not to act, it's almost like he does a better job.
Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. But yeah, Dean calls him out and he's like, yep, I am lying.
Yeah. And he's like, why? And he's like, well, honestly, because I thought you'd fuck it up. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you mess it up. You're emotional. You shoot first, ask questions.
Yeah.
Later. We needed to ask questions.
Yeah, basically we learned that like Samuel's been capturing some monsters and like torturing them, interrogating them.
Yeah.
We don't know why yet, but that's what's happening.
So Dean says, like, look, he's like, this is messed up, and you can't even tell that this is messed up. He's like, so I need to deal with this.
Yeah.
And he's like, either you can like not be a part of this with me, or you can. And then we then cut to we're at the back at the Campbell base, and Sam shows up to Samuel and is like, hey, I want to be part of the actual like alpha thing.
Yeah,
he's like Dean kicked me out.
He's like Dean. Yeah, we're on the outs. You know, whatever.
I'm recommitting to the family, and I want to be part of in the full.
Yeah, he's like, this is all I've got now because Dean wants nothing to do with me. So
yeah, and then Samuel says, "Pucker up, then you want to be part of this family."
Jesus, no.
And so.
It's so fucked up.
But Samuel says no. He's like he's like now I know you don't have a soul. He's like, I don't trust you either.
Yeah.
So he's like, you can be part of this family. Get back to the basics. You'll be on the hunts. Like I'll
Yeah,
have
you're a great hunter, but like no.
You're not being part of the other stuff
until we figure out the soul thing. Maybe let's not
just fucking cool your
give
heels.
you a full clearance here.
Exactly.
You know.
And so
Samuel weirdly logical and right in this moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Sam decides that he's then going to go to Plan B, which wasn't discussed, but he is going to take his phone, put it and turn on the GPS, which
he
apparently is the thing.
breaks open like the van, goes into the glove box, gets a phone, looks up a GPS or turns it on,
which
and then goes back to the car with Dean and opens a laptop that's connected to some kind of internet
somehow and is immediately already on the thing.
Yeah. And he tracks the GPS of the thing.
Well, it was already tracked because they had already left, apparently. So he's like, oh, he opens it for like 2 seconds and he goes, oh, there it is, and closes it.
Yeah.
It was very quick.
Something about that. I don't know if I missed a cut or something.
No, there was no cut you missed.
It's a slightly odd.
He gets in the car and they had already been at the place. Somehow the thing was connected to an. He opens it up. It immediately knows exactly the location, closes his laptop. It happened so fast.
Yeah.
But
it's very TV convenient. Yeah.
Yes, he's been tracking the phone signal. So they now are.
Dean is like, won't Samuel know? And Sam says something like he thinks Velcro is too advanced.
Yeah. Like he's not going to understand. I mean, we've already seen him trying to use the internet.
Though, I was thinking about that. That line only works because we got that moment
with the internet.
With the like, my damn computer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was like, do you know what? It was worth putting that in there.
It
I don't know if
now.
they put it in so they could do this, but it's a good way to.
It does make this work.
It works.
Definitely.
Because otherwise it would just feel like a throwaway line of like, and this is why this is fine.
No, it's like that. Yeah.
But we just buy
tracks.
It. Yeah.
So they get to this torture base, essentially. And they're sneaking through it. And they eventually get to the place where the actual torturing is happening. And it's this like makeshift torture chamber with this cage and like dead man's blood running through the alpha vampire.
Oh yeah, but also on the outside, there's dead man's blood on the door.
Yes,
and then they go like, makes sense. Like put vamp repellent on the thing. It's like, is that how dead man's blood works?
I don't know.
Because they always inject it?
Yes.
It's like they can't have dead man's blood in them, like drink it or inject that's always
to put it on the door. I don't think they're like you.
Yeah, like I never thought of it. I mean, I think it's creative. I don't dislike it, but I just wanted to make sure this is the first time we've seen it as like a warding kind of thing, as opposed to like a poison.
Yeah, I wish that they had like just put like cloves of garlic and stuff on there.
Yeah,
that's not been part of this. Like the garlic thing is never, but it was funny.
Just make the door out of silver.
Yeah, I mean
the most expensive
so
door.
expensive. And so then they witness Samuel like interrogating and torturing the alpha vampire.
Yeah,
who's giving him nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, there's literally a great moment where he's like trying to electrocute him, and he's got like shit in his feet and dead man's blood running through his body.
Yeah, he's like nailed through the hands and feet. He's being there's like something in his neck, like feeding dead man's blood in constantly. He's tied to this thing.
It's a great visual.
And they run like whatever it is, like 50,000 volts through, and he doesn't even move.
He's just
like this alpha vampire's like
crazy strong.
Yeah.
And a thing that I think
he's like, oh, ow, it hurts.
this is the thing for the entire series, I think, which is like we've dealt with other alphas so far. This alpha is beyond. Like they don't really say it, but like vampires are sort of separate from the rest of the monsters.
They seem like stronger.
Yeah. Like he
in particular.
Yeah, is very intimidating and awesome.
Yeah, really, really cool. Great performance too. Out of a very kind of like creepy,
good.
Like I was alive before the sun. He has like that kind of energy, like not
like Death did. Yeah.
Yeah, he has
slightly more like charming and cocky, but
he has a countenance of someone who has lived too long to be thwarted by like you fucking muggles. Like,
love it.
You know.
Samuel leaves, and as he's leaving, the vampire then grows his nail and starts like cutting at the like his wrists,
the like leather strap. Yeah, just very slowly, like surreptitious.
Kind of hot.
But then he also goes like, "Are you boys gonna hide all night? Come on out." You know, like he could hear their heartbeats.
I'm like, I get it why people fuck vampires. Like between this and that and Twihard, I'm like,
Richard,
get it.
we get it. You're horny.
I'm horny. He recognizes Dean instantly from their psychic.
He goes, you were my child once.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. And proves resistant to this torture as they try to torture him too, and it doesn't work. But he tells them that he's like, oh, I'll answer your questions. Ask me anything you want. And he's like, why are you just suddenly going to answer? He's like, oh, because I'm going to be ankle deep in your blood and guts in a minute. And I'm just like,
yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm going to be all up in your guts.
Yeah, yes, Daddy Vamp. Okay, Daddy Vamp.
Jesus.
Have you seen that TikTok thing where it's like the person's like kidnapped and they're like pretending to be a kidnapped like millennial or no, like a Gen Z. That's what it is. Gen Z kidnapped, and it's like, oh my God, hi, is this a kidnapping? Oh my God, I love this. Like, it's like, oh my God, are you gonna kill me? Thank you. It's so funny. And then a cop shows up.
Good Lord.
And they're like, I'm here to protect, ma'am, I'm here to protect you. And it's like, sorry, did you just like say my gender? And then it was like, it's like we're not that deep. It's fine. Like
it's funny. You know, we're doing the thing to Gen Z that boomers did to us.
I know. I'm not seeing
the like
it at
infantilizing.
I know.
Thing, and it's like it is interesting to watch it happen.
Yes.
Because you know it'll be like, oh, you millennials, you avocado toast, like all that. Where you just go like, what is that joke even? And then I imagine Gen Z is doing the exact same thing to us when.
Well, what's so funny is that what we're doing to Gen Z about but it's like they're Gen X to us is being, and boomers are like avocado toast, and to Gen Z we're like, oh, what, you want to kill yourself and there's no opportunities? And I'm like, that is not the same level. Like, this is clearly a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like avocado toast, you know, that you want to kill yourself.
No, I mean, yeah. No, Gen Z, they're the revolutionaries. We're the ones that want to kill ourselves.
Yeah, I know. That is
the
true.
millennials are the, you know, we'll just step out of the way.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We've had our time.
Yeah.
So he informs that Samuel is looking for purgatory because they're like, why are you?
Yeah.
Why is he?
Well, what he says is like,
you?
you know, because he's clocks Sam. He goes, you feel cold.
Yeah.
He goes, you don't have a soul. That's interesting. He goes, you know, souls are interesting things. You die, you go to heaven, you go to hell.
Where do we go?
Where do we go?
The freaks, the monsters.
And he goes, the soul of every monster that dies, where does it go? Goes to purgatory.
That's right.
And nobody knows where it is. And then they go like, you do. And he's like, I do.
Well, he doesn't even agree because like Sam is the one who clocks it. He's like, you're lying. He's like, you do know where it is. But we've confirmed now that purgatory is real, that this vampire knows where it is.
He says like, you boys need to brush up on your Dante.
Great.
You know, Dante's Inferno.
Love that.
Well, it's the Divine Comedy is what it's called. There's the Inferno, the Purgatorio, and the Paradiso are the three parts of it.
Cool.
Yeah, it is.
I know. I agree.
You were being sarcastic.
Let's talk about purgatory. I didn't.
Oh, baby. Ooh, baby.
It's not in here. It's not. Did I look at stuff? Sure, but no, I didn't put it in. I held back. I had restraint. Classic Richard. I have restraints.
Do you?
Of course I do.
No,
I'm horny.
saying I have restraints is different than saying you have restraints.
Of course I have restraints. I'm horny.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway.
So it's revealed that obviously the Alpha indeed knows of the Purgatory's location, and the vampires, as well as many other creatures, are readying for war.
Yes.
Because they're like, why are you making so many vampires? And he's like, we're going to war. Like, this is the shit that's happening. Just as they're having this conversation, Samuel, Christian, and Gwen then interrupt the two and set up another Campbell to guard the Alpha while they go and discuss things outside of the room.
Yeah.
They do interrupt by just going, chuk, chuk,
Yeah. Hey, boys.
The Alpha, as they're having this discussion of just like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
And Dean's like, are you fucking stupid, Samuel? Like this thing is stronger than any monster we ever fight, and you think you're just gonna hold it?
Yeah.
And interrogate it? You stupid asshole. We gotta kill this thing, or we are all fucking dead.
Yeah. And that's when the Alpha escapes.
Yeah. And this escape is
so good.
So many of these, like, he's just not there, that you turn around, he's behind. Like,
so good. I love this Alpha.
Yeah.
So much.
That's good.
So then Dean, Samuel, Sam, Christian, and Gwen split up to try to recapture the vampire.
Right.
After Dean pretty much takes control of the situation, which is awesome because his relationship with Samuel in this whole episode is really interesting because it's such a interesting place to see Dean, because now Sam is sort of the like cold, like tough guy,
and also the family lackey.
Yeah,
who's just like, they're family, of course I trust them. And Dean's like, you moron, you have no instincts. I think we passed that scene, but that comes up is just like, how could you trust them? Look at them.
and Samuel up until this point has been sort of this like very much like confident in charge, and Dean confronting him sort of like betas him a bit.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly Dean's the Alpha.
Oh.
Yeah, and he like takes over the situation, and he's like you can do whatever the fuck you want, but he's like, oh, we need to put all that aside now and go kill this thing. Because Samuel's like, well, we need to recapture it. He's like, He's like, you're not recapturing it. We'll be lucky we get out alive. We have to go kill it. You go this way, you go this way, I'm going to go this way, and we're going to go deal with this thing.
Yeah.
And Dean fully takes over the situation. Then they can't find him anywhere in the building.
Yeah, there's all this kind of creepy, like, going through hallways. Made me think of Resident Evil 2, and I just... I didn't like it.
And of course, Don John gets real cocky and is like, I guess he's not around here.
And then, boom, next snap.
So good.
Great.
He then grabs a hold of Sam and pins him up against the wall.
And he says, like, you don't have a soul. You're going to be the perfect killing machine. I can't wait to fucking make you a vampire.
He says you're going to be the perfect animal.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh. Like.
Easy.
Yeah, fucking doggy style.
I'm just asking that next time we record, you, like, put a blanket over you or something. It's visibly throbbing.
I've resurrected. Christian appears behind it and detains it then.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because you're like, yo, he died, and suddenly he pops back up.
Puts Dead Man's blood, like, in its spine, in the Alpha's, like, spine. But then he's got black eyes. And then two of the other like dead like Campbells or whatever come in with black eyes.
That's right.
And we get and they grab the Alpha, and then they disappear, and we get hello, boys.
So fucking good. Crowley appears and explains that he's had Christian possessed for a long time now. Because they're like, you just fucking put demons in these people? And he's
like, they just died. And he's like, oh, no, I possessed him a while ago. Protect my investments,
so good.
And this is where we get a reveal that Samuel's been taking orders from Crowley.
That's right. He explains that he has plans on controlling purgatory.
Yeah, he says it's hell adjacent. It's
he's like, I'm
talking about it like a real estate developer. He's like, I want it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
he's like, he basically explains that he wants to control purgatory like he does with hell currently, and that Samuel has been working to interrogate and deliver creatures, alphas mostly, so purgatory's location can be discovered. Also, that he had resurrected Sam and Samuel with his newfound powers as Hell's king. Because they're like, you're just a crossroads demon. He's like, I was a crossroads demon.
I'm the king of hell. I've got the mojo.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, we get an explanation about all of this stuff more in a later episode.
Further down the line.
Because there's a lot of question marks right now, right? Which is just like, but like,
what makes him more powerful?
What's the value of purgatory beyond, like, because it's like, well, you don't, like, you're not running out of space. So, like, what do you actually want from purgatory? We'll figure all that out later. But we know that he's more powerful now, and that's what he's going after.
Yeah.
So Crowley leaves as Gwen, Sam, and Dean, all shocked by Samuel's actions, start to question Samuel now. Because they're just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is what you're doing?
Yeah.
It's an interesting scenario because we all know Samuel's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I'm like, he's in a bad situation.
Sorry, did I miss it? Why is Samuel doing it though?
Because he resurrected him. He can put him back.
Oh, right. That's just, it's only that. There's not like
there is an extra thing that we don't know because he's been promised something.
Yeah, that was what
and that doesn't get resolved here. So there was like a weird discussion because they're like, what are you getting? Like, what do you want? And he's like, there's just something else. But Sam cuts in because Dean's interrogating him, and Sam's just like diverting to like the bigger problem, and not dealing with what this is. And so there's like a weird quick thing where Dean says something, Samuel doesn't respond, but Sam asks a question and that sort of diverts this conversation. So, but we know that there is something else, but also, so whatever, Samuel wants something else, but also like he knows that he can get put back in an instant. And so like, as much as I hate Samuel, this episode alone, I'm like, I don't hate Samuel in this episode. I think he's making bad decisions.
There's been a few episodes now where it's like
he's making decisions. So he's like I don't know, Dean, so that's why I don't trust you.
Yeah.
He's like Sam, like you not having a soul is a problem. Like I'm not evil. Like you are a problem.
Yeah.
Like he's like I don't trust you because you're not like making empathetic
he's just
human
a dick.
decisions. He's just a dick.
Yeah.
But basically, Samuel explains that Crowley has resurrected them and he could easily kill them once again. And Sam gets put right back in the cage. So he probably does care a bit about Sam. He cares about his own hide and he wants something else.
There's a little like thing here where it's like, I know we're dusting a lot under the carpet with that Crowley has more mojo now. Yeah. But like, you just get people in and out of the cage.
Well, no, I mean, because he's the king of hell, and also he didn't fully get him out of the cage.
But also, like, what kind of cage only opens for one person and not another? Is like all of the rules of the cage so far have been: is it open or is it closed?
Yeah.
And this is the first time it's like, well, we can kind of do whatever we want with it.
We can sneak into it, but I mean, I think my sort of interpretation of it is like you can probably get into it from the outside in some way, but it's really, really hard. And if you like open it, then everybody gets out. But if you like slip in through whatever means, it's still really challenging and the potential of releasing Lucifer and Michael.
Yeah.
So it's like they barely got Sam out. And I think that's sort of my perspective on it. But you're right. Like there is a question of like, it's like, how can you kind of open it? But then there's like all this process
especially because we've built up all of this thing about how difficult it is and how,
Yes.
Yeah. It's a little...
But also, it instantly happened. So my guess is maybe as it was closing, maybe they pulled him out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think there's no way around it.
Yeah.
But it is a little like...
Yes, I agree. So Sam and Dean then decide that they're going to agree to Crowley's terms. So they kick Samuel out, and they're like, get the fuck out of here. Because Dean's about to shoot him in the head. And like we saw in the promo, he's like, are you going to kill your grandpa? Just shoot me in the fucking head then. Because he's like, otherwise he's like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. And Dean's just like, just fucking get out of here.
Yeah.
And then Dean and Sam were like, okay, well, we need to get your soul back. Crowley sort of says that he's like, hey, if you get me what I want, he's like, I can maybe get you your soul back.
Yeah.
And Sam's like, that's probably our only option. And Dean's like, he's not going to do it. He's like, yeah, but he's like, it's the only option. So we may as well see where this gets us.
Yeah, yeah.
But Sam promises Dean that they will give Crowley what he deserves in the end.
Yeah.
So they're like, look, let's just try this out because I apparently need a soul, and we'll maybe kill Crowley after this, and we'll try this until we have a better option.
Yeah.
That's the end of the episode.
Before we get into our thoughts, it's obviously time. We've been waiting with bated breath.
Waiting.
It's time for the Samuel Campbell Memorial.
No,
Fuck you, Samuel Campbell.
Jesus.
It's been 2 weeks, man. It's the Fuck you, Samuel Campbell Memorial. Who was the biggest asshole this episode segment? I think it's Don John.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to play the thing?
No, sorry. I don't have it
Get
ready.
it ready?
Yeah.
Wow. The thing that is at the very end of the episode that you like, it's the same time every time. No. It's too late now. I don't want it now. I'll delete it if you put it in now.
More editing work than you ever put in.
Look, if I stick to my guns, it happens. Yeah, it's Don John. I mean, he's the absolute asshole of this episode. He's unnecessarily a dick, and he gets what he fucking deserves.
He does. I mean, it turns out we know why he's an asshole, but it doesn't stop him from being an asshole.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I actually don't think it's Samuel, and I don't think it's Crowley. I think they're both acting.
But also, the real guy must also have been an asshole, or they would have noticed that he was possessed.
That's true. Yeah. So it's justified.
It's justified.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad about it.
No.
Yeah.
So that is the end of the episode.
So thoughts. Here's stuff I like about this episode.
Okay.
This is the first time since we've met the character that I felt like true sinister intentions from Crowley.
Yeah.
Because the other times it's like, well, he's a demon. It's
He's
like,
a crossroads demon.
He's being shifty about, Bobby's soul,
Yeah.
or, he's aggressive with the guys or whatever. But, like, they've been more or less on the same side.
Totally, yeah.
And this is the first time that we're sort of positioning Crowley as like, no, he's the king of hell.
Yeah.
That's not just, like, cool.
He's bigger fish than you expected him to be.
Yes,
I think. He's got grander plans.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
We're introducing cool ideas. Souls, and what does that mean, and how does that work?
Yeah.
And purgatory, like, oh shit, of course, if there's heaven and hell, there's purgatory, and like the fact that monsters go there when they die, that's interesting. The Alpha, a great performance from this guy, and cool scary kills, when he escapes. That's really good. I think Samuel and Sam are great in this episode, both. Really, really strong performances. I like that stuff. I think it's a cool reveal, like the gambit of like what has Samuel been doing and stuff like that. I think the episode itself is a little all over the place, like structurally, and maybe partly that's because that thing that's supposed to be at the end of an episode is at the beginning of this one, and it feels a little like you're playing pinball going through the episode. It's a little jumbled. There's, obviously some dialogue stuff we talked about that I don't love. We get another just offhand Caspian. Like, I'm fighting a war, but of course your problems come first. Like,
I love that. Because Dean is a jerk to Cass.
I like that, but I'm also like, let's get to the fucking Civil War. Like the Angel Civil War. It's like Cass has shown up 3 times. Every time he's been like, I'm in the middle of something, and we never see it.
I mean, it's funny because it plays a bit into like season 3, which is just like, hey, we would love to show you the fucking demon war, but it's like they won't give us the money, so we're just gonna talk about this thing that's way cooler than what's happening. But,
it's true, yeah.
But we can't show it to you.
It's true.
I would rather them talk about it than not have it happen.
Overall, even though this episode is like a little dry, I'm not sure that I think it's bad.
I know. I was sort of expecting it to be
so forgettable, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Like I didn't even fully, honestly, of all of this, all the supernatural stuff, all the stuff I remember, I didn't even really remember the Crowley Samuel connection.
I barely remembered it. Yeah.
And then like I remembered the image of the Alpha in the cage, but not really anything else. Like I've forgotten so much about this season, which is something about the season. But this episode is so forgettable. It's a bit dry, but I don't think it's a bad episode. I would give this 3.5 long fingernails.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I it was funny because going into this episode, I was like, this is a forgettable episode. And I was like, but again, I couldn't remember if it was good or bad.
Right.
And the reality is it's kind of good, but not good enough. And I think that there's some really interesting stuff with this because it's it is clunky and like, and there's pockets of things that happen and then lots of really dry, dead sort of moments. Like there are moments of a lot of really like long shots that are quiet and like that nothing happens and people walking slowly into rooms and stuff that I'm like, they definitely didn't have enough room in this episode, and they didn't have enough content to fill up an episode with this.
Sure, yeah.
And so they like sort of were like, okay, we need to see the alpha vampire. We need to like be introduced to him. We're like, that's the main thing that happens in this, and otherwise, and then we need to kind of figure out finally what's going on with Samuel, and that's sort of the two things that this episode needed to accomplish.
Yeah.
But that's not a lot. That's two conversations. That's like.
Well, especially the way they deliver them, which is just the alpha vet being like, "I'll tell you," and then Crowley being like, "Well, I'll tell you."
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like it's not like there's like a lot of discovery involved. Like it's just two easy pieces of dialogue, and you've got 40 minutes of
exactly. And so there's a lot of this like slow preparation for things and walking into rooms and stuff. And I actually don't mind that.
I don't mind it either.
I don't mind sitting in a cool scene.
There's some good character stuff in there, especially between Sam and Dean, or them and Samuel, or like it works.
It's weirdly weirdly unbalanced of an episode, and I think that's the problem at the end of the day. Is it just like a whole bunch of conversations happens and then a whole bunch of action happens and then there's like nothing for a little bit and then it happens again and you're just like you feel ping-pongy throughout the entire episode. I think it's like well shot. I love the fucking set design for that the torture of the vampire.
It's
that's
great.
So fucking cool.
Looks good.
I think that he's playing the hell out of Samuel. Sam not acting is doing a really good job at not acting.
Totally.
Really, really enjoying that. I think Dean like being a bit like I'm against everybody.
Yeah.
He's like I don't trust anybody. I don't like believe in what's happening. I've lost everything. Like I'm just trying to like figure out what the fuck's going on. And I think he's the representation of this entire season, which is like like we don't know what the fuck's going on. There's no monster to go after.
Yeah.
We're sort of just like trying to figure out why, like in the response to like the last season, why are we still here and what's the point of moving forward? And they're like, I have this brother, but he's not my brother anymore. He's just a guy that looks like my brother. And then I have this grandfather who I never met, and he looks like my family, but it's a lot of like Dean being in a situation where it's like everything looks like it should be things that I care about, but I don't care about any of it. And I think that's exactly what but
that's the Dean growth, right?
But also like as audience members, I think it's exactly the feeling. It's like this looks like the show we like, but like
who are they?
What is this? Like, what is happening? And I think that's the entire like thesis for the season, where it's like this looks like Supernatural, but like, what are we after right now?
Yeah, totally.
And I get it. It's gonna this season had to be this. I think that they could have set something up. Like we have a little tinge of
I don't know that the season had to be this, but it's just
it had to be a response to the previous season, and it had to go down because.
I don't know that was a given. I think their approach to it made it that way.
I just think the show needs to transform into something else, and this is the like purgatory of that transformation.
I mean, that is what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know that I agree that that's the only scenario.
Sure.
But it's just that's where we are.
We're even getting like we got a hint of, and this is how badly I remember this season. I don't know if it's this season or in like 2 seasons from now, but there's a conversation where he goes to the vampire and he goes, so you were the first monster, where did you come from? And he goes,
that's this season.
Is it? Okay. And he goes, which is crazy that we still haven't even gotten that, but he's like, what's then who made you?
He says we all have our mothers.
Yes. Yeah. And that's
this season.
And that like breezed by.
I know. Well, I know, but also if you recall, that element also breezes by.
Yeah.
It's like barely in the show.
So it's I mean, this is the purgatory of episodes. This episode's like this episode is neither good or bad. It's sort of like it exists, it accomplishes the few things, but there are some like shining moments in it. There's good acting in it. The writing when it is good, it is really good. When the writing is bad, it's really bad.
Yeah.
So it kind of sits in both places, which means again, it's like it's all like gray area in this episode. Where it's like we've had episodes that like nothing have happened. things happen in this. It's like
Yeah.
we've had episodes where they like blow the big things in this. Well, it's like there's stuff that happens throughout the entire thing. It's such a confusing episode, which I think is why it's so forgettable. It's like it's more about the like visualization of this one moment that everything is on, and then everything else is sort of like, oh yeah, I forgot that. Like, oh yeah, the Crowley thing. Yeah, okay, yeah, I do remember that. Like everything is sort of like hazy remembering. It's like, oh yeah, that is how all of this works, and that's only because of this episode.
Yeah.
Which is this weird foundation for the rest of this season.
It's true.
But all based off of nothing. It's all built on sand.
This isn't what was happening, but what it feels like is like we have 3 different ideas. We'll see what people like and we'll do that.
Yes.
That's not what's happening. Because
this alpha is so good.
But that's what it feels like as a viewer, is that they're waiting to see what you like.
Which is funny because this alpha is so good, it shows up in like 10 seasons from now.
Yeah, that's true.
Spoiler alert, but like not in any sort of significant way.
Yeah.
But like this is that vampire is the thing that I'm like, oh, I'm so interested in.
So good, yeah.
The one fucking line where it was like, when you were discovering fire, I was the thing in the dark. Like such a fucking great line.
I love that because we're also saying like, no, he's not like Dracula.
No.
He's like ancient.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of a thing I fucking love about that.
He's so much cooler than they gave him credit. This is what I mean. It's both bad and good. Like it's both.
Damn, the lore stuff is fun.
Yes.
I might just bump mine to 3.75.
This is what I mean.
I can't give it a 4 in good conscience.
I
It's
know.
too messy of an episode, but it's good though.
It's
Fuck.
I know it's better than it is.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's better than it is. That's like 100% it.
So I'm gonna also give it 3.75 discoveries of Velcro.
Whoa, nice. Nice.
So yeah, those are our reviews. But before we go, we've got a note from a fellow hunter.
All right.
From Teresa, who says, love your podcast. You guys were talking about Jensen directing this one.
Right.
He did 6 episodes. This was his first directing from this season.
Right.
So he did 6 episodes in total for the entire series.
Sure.
It was usually the 3rd or 4th episode of the season. So
right, so he's like near the beginning, so he's got like time he can put into the prep.
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
he's not like deep in filming the season.
So now we know, he's going to be doing like a few once every sort of
couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. They usually filmed his episodes the first, so he could have prep time. So not only is it the 3rd or 4th episode, but also it's the first thing that they actually were doing.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So he could have prep time during hiatus and didn't have to direct and prep for another episode at the same time. Jared never directed.
Wow. Never at all.
Never had the interest.
Well, I mean, if he had the interest, they would have let him.
Yeah,
like, there's no version where they're like, I don't think so.
I also, maybe he heard the line, but it's like, Jared's going to end up, maybe Jared will even do it.
Or that line is less of a dig than we think it is, and Jared is just like, I have no interest.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Jensen's just...
Richard Speight Jr. directed a bunch.
Well, yeah, he continues to direct TV.
Exactly.
He kind of takes like on the Jonathan Frakes sort of thing.
Totally.
Where you direct a bunch of TV. Or like Robert Duncan McNeil, the guy who played Tom Paris on Voyager. It's like a big TV director.
Totally.
Too,
and he has since directed 1 episode of Walker.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
oh,
and plans to direct on The Winchesters.
Oh, fun.
Once he finishes filming Big Sky. And I hope they get more episodes. So
hey, there you go.
That's a note from Teresa. Thank you for giving us a bit more insight about the directing thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, that is the end of this episode. If you want to talk about the directing habits of cast members, if you want to have a discussion about some of the problematic issues that we've addressed in this episode,
boy.
Or you just want to congratulate us for being award winners,
which you obviously do. You want to congratulate us,
but we could
bend the knee.
Yeah, we could use a bit more.
Yeah,
bend both knees.
Easy.
And I'm horny.
You gotta stop saying it, man.
Let's continue that discussion on our Discord, the incredible online forum from patreon.com/ghostfacers.
Yeah, from there.
That's where you get
you pay $1 a month.
You've brought in
you get access to Angel Radio. It's our
then
awesome.
You've gotten the.
It's our awesome Discord server full of great people, really cool community.
Way better than us.
Yeah, we're talking a bunch about stuff.
That is a.
Yeah, I know. I can't speak incorrectly. That's my curse.
Yeah, I can't speak wrong either.
It's not an adverb.
So yeah, join us on there. Also, if you have a note, much like Teresa did for a past episode or something that's coming up, or you have a professional expertise that will be addressing something that we talked about.
Yeah, are you good at enhanced interrogation? Do you want to weigh in on how they did with the vamp?
Yeah, I worked at Guantanamo. And
yeah. In my time there, yeah.
Funny
you never go full voltage.
Yeah. Funny thing about
because then they know it can't get worse.
Funny thing about other people's blood, it works on humans too.
Oh, no. Jesus. Vinny blood?
That's right.
Yeah. Before I got into the blood delivery
trade
/ a restaurant game, I worked at Guantanamo Bay.
That's where that was my muse, my inspiration came from there.
Yeah. Man, what a dark backstory for that character.
I've seen some things.
Yeah. But now, if you want to hear my stories about my days at Gitmo, come on down to Universal Donaire in the lobby of the St. John's Hospital.
Blood, food,
only come in the daytime. I'm delivering blood at night.
Right, that's right. Which
apparently a normal thing.
A very normal thing we found out.
Yeah, which really impacts the comedy of my personality.
Yeah. So you can send all of that type of information to ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us through our various social media platforms.
Yeah, we're at GhostfacersPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform that you get it. And while you're there, why don't you give us a 5-star review like we got at the beginning of this podcast from if you are an award.
Yeah, you want to just give to us.
Yeah, give us.
If you're an award.
We'd love to have gotten an award.
I would love to get a warden.
If you want to broaden us awards, we'll have gotten them.
So sassy.
Also, if you're just a grateful listener, that really helps us out in giving us those 5 stars. But we'll also read it on a future episode of the show. Everything nice thing that you have to say. And if you want to say filthy, dirty, mean things, as long as you give us 5 stars, I don't care.
We get it, man.
What?
Stop.
I'm into it.
Really?
I'm horny.
The question is, what are you not into? Don't answer that. That'll be our ongoing experiment.
Surprisingly a hard thing to answer. Speaking of...
You can also listen to our other podcast.
Yeah, but
the Dr. DC podcast, where we talk about comic books.
Merch.
And that's fun, and I'm going to keep just plowing through there that way.
Yeah, if you like comedy, we're the award winners of that.
We're officially the funniest podcast in Canada.
We beat Jonathan Torrens.
Famous Canadian comedian Jonathan Torrens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if you're listening, suck it, Torrens. We won.
That's right. A thing that I wrote and he responded to on my Facebook.
Canada is too small a country.
It's so small that I could take somebody who's very famous, directly tag them.
He took time to respond on Facebook.
On my personal Facebook.
So fucked up.
Under a bunch of other comments. And he's like, thanks, man.
Yeah, crazy.
So buy our merch at ghostfacerspodcaststore.com. Also, if you want to get your I'm horny shirts.
It's just
a thing I would make.
A plain black shirt with just the words I'm horny. It's no attribution. No attribution, rather, to Ghostfacers.
No, if you know, you know.
It just says I'm horny.
Yeah, you're like,
wear it to work.
You're a fan of Richard. I can get that. All right, that is it for this week. Say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.